Everyone knows there's a problem with college. For decades, the cost of attending college, not only in tuition but in every aspect, has gone up dramatically, leaving less fortunate students at a tremendous disadvantage on top of those they already have. My name is Caleb Chandler, and as a college student myself, this is an issue I'm passionate about because it affects me directly. When I was a kid, I remember thinking college was basically a foregone conclusion. I thought it was easy to get into and attend college, and I never had any doubts or thought much about it. What I didn't realize then, though, was that I was naive and I came from a privileged position. Both my parents graduated from college, and we were very well off financially and otherwise. Now that I'm here, though, I've been exposed to the true reality of the situation. College is a vital part of social mobility, and it's hidden behind a paywall that effectively perpetuates the social hierarchy we already have in place. In America especially, college is the doorway to success in life. With college education, the floodgates are opened and you are exposed to a wealth of opportunities that otherwise would not be available to you. A college degree is one of our only guaranteed engines of social mobility, but its sacred role as a way to help poor students move out of poverty is being neglected. Researchers at Pew have shown that children born in the lowest income quintile who did not earn a four-year degree are 4 times as likely to wind up in the bottom as those who do earn a four-year degree. And yet, it is far more difficult for those students to earn their degree. Nationally, the graduation rate for low-income students is 51%, compared with 65% for other students. This issue even extends into my own dorm room. One of my roommates, who does not come from the same life of luxury that I do, has to bear the full cost of college himself by juggling part-time jobs and desperately hoping for scholarships. I sat down with him to discuss the problem with college from his point of view. So what, in your opinion, is the problem with college?
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not a lot of equal opportunity when it comes to college because it's necessary. But for someone like me who has no outside funding and I have to pay for everything myself, it's hard. I had to work full time all summer, 92 hours a week, and I only was able to pay for my first semester, it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, I didn't have to do anything. I literally I was like, hey, mom and dad, come here and pay for my stuff.
Yeah, so we're on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Exactly, and I don't think I'm in normal cases I wouldn't be more deserving of it, but since I'm so much smarter than he is, it's sort of, no, I'm kidding.
That's
obviously
really mean.
not. But
That's nice.
no, seriously though, I feel like that's, like I said, it's not really fair because the only difference between us really is that I have more well-off parents, and I don't think that's the way it should be. But so a couple months ago we were talking about this, and you told me that just kicked my chips. You told me you were thinking about dropping out and going to trade school instead. What makes you think that might be a better option?
Well, so over the summer I did a plumber job. I was a plumber's assistant, which basically means I worked under a licensed official plumber and I did basically everything they do. And it wasn't too bad of a job. Actually, I enjoyed it. It was mainly outside doing manual labor. And so for a plumber, and a lot of, electricians are like this too, I know for sure, you have to do 4 years of school, and then I think it's 8,000 hours of work, but you can do those at the same time. And my coworker, he was going to school to get his tradesman or journeyman license, that's what it's called, and his school was only 2 nights a week for 2 hours for all 4 years, cheaper than USU, and the two head owners of the plumbing company were making $150,000 a year. They all have 3-story, very nice houses because they started their own company, and it's not my ideal job. I would not, actively seek out doing plumbing.
So do you think you would be thinking about that if you didn't have to pay for college?
No. I want to do Forest Service pretty bad. My grandpa really got me into that, and that's my ideal job. But problem is college is, it's way too expensive for me. So it's basically a want and need situation because I do need an education, and I want to get this Forest Service thing, but it's very expensive, and I could go do this trade school, which is cheaper, same amount of time. I can make money at the same time because I do have to work those 8,000 hours, but that's a job.
Yeah.
And I'm making money during that.
So what do you think needs to be done to fix the problem and make college more fair?
First off, I think we need to get rid of out-of-state tuition, or at least lower that, because it is 24,000 a year, and that is just for tuition, not including living at all, which is insane. And with this COVID thing right now, especially, since we're not even in class, it's online, which doesn't take nowhere near as much to fund it. And I don't know the exact specifics of that, but we are not getting as good an education as we could be, and I feel like it should be cheaper because of that, especially right now more than ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, personally, I guess I'll go over my solution later in the podcast, but I don't think that. I mean, when you bring money into the equation, you're automatically stratifying people based on the wealth of their parents. Like things that they can't control. Which I don't like that. To me, that seems completely wrong and un-American. And we need to find a way to make it so that college, especially being what it is, and being as important as it is not something that people don't have an equal opportunity for. But yeah, so thanks for coming on and sharing your views. This kind of ran a little bit long, so I might have to cut some of it. But
okay.
Yep.
Hang out with
Thanks,
that.
man.
Yeah,
See
no
ya.
problem. Good luck.
Yep. Obviously, Eddie is not the only one struggling. Many people are struggling, and if you're a student yourself listening to this, there's a chance that you're struggling too. So why is this happening? Richard Vedder is a professor of economics at Ohio State University who has written extensively about this issue, what's causing it, and what we can do about it. Here's what he had to say.
It takes a larger percentage of a family's income to go to college today than it did 30, 40, 50 years ago for almost all Americans. Now, that's not true of most things that we buy. It's not true of airline travel. It's not true of buying automobiles. With economic growth, things usually get less burdensome with the passage of time. But with higher ed, it's the opposite. And part of the reason, a huge part of the reason, is because governmental policies, although well-intended, no doubt, have had sort of an effect of increasing the demand for higher education, the number of kids wanting to go to college, without having the same impact on the supply of higher education, meaning the prices have been pushed up. So tuition costs have gone up at twice the rate of inflation for 34 years, going up faster than medical costs.
Why wouldn't the law of supply and demand suggest that people would start universities? Because it's profitable.
Well, that is exactly what is starting to happen. But the main obstacle to that have been accreditation rules, various governmental restrictions, governments refusing to provide the financial aid that they provide for kids to go to government schools, to go to particularly the new proprietary or for-profit institutions, which I think have a great deal of promise and are growing rather fast in spite of all of these obstacles. And that's where maybe the future lies. But right now, we are government drops money out of airplanes over campuses. Those campuses use that money inefficiently. They're medievally organized. They're not disciplined by market forces, unlike the rest of the economy.
Vedder presents an interesting perspective about the role of government incompetence in the problem. Accreditation rules have prevented the supply of colleges from growing at the same rate as demand, driving an increase in prices. If that's a little confusing, let me put it this way. When more people want something, naturally you will get more of that thing. However, if there is something preventing the supply of that thing from growing, prices will rise because the suppliers know that since people want what they are supplying, they can charge more. The thing preventing the supply from growing in this case is the accreditation system. Without accreditation, institutions cannot receive government funding. Without government funding, they can't compete, and if they can't compete, then the established institutions have no incentive to make their services cheaper. So what's the solution? Well, there are a few knee-jerk ways of looking at this situation, probably depending on where you stand politically. The first is to say that government intervention is evil and we should do away with it altogether. The second way of looking at it is that capitalism is evil, since it's the reason schools cost money in the first place, and we should do away with that instead. But I think there's a third way. We can combine the best parts of capitalism as well as government intervention to achieve the best possible result. First of all, like I said in the interview, money is unequal. Some people have it and some people don't, for better or for worse. I don't intend to make any broad statement about the inherent ethics of money or of capitalism, or to say that my solution can be applied to any other issue. It can't. The world is more complicated than that. But the fact remains that money is a divider. It divides people. College is supposed to be a unifier that unifies people and gives them an equal opportunity to succeed. When you put a paywall in front of college, the most important tool for achieving financial freedom in this country, what you are essentially doing is perpetuating the status quo. The poor stay poor and the rich stay rich. That being said, I believe that the most important part of the solution is to remove the financial burden on students altogether. This is feasible. Right now we are spending 8 times more on our military, which we rarely, if ever, need to use, than the next closest country. We can redirect our excess military budget towards education. The elephant in the room, of course, is that we can't just let everyone in no matter what. Success is relative, and for some to be successful, others must fail. I understand that. My issue is that success should not be contingent on the circumstances you were born into. Colleges are already selective, but if you remove money from the equation, they will be selective based on individual merit only. To fix the problem of supply and demand that Vedder described, fix the accreditation system. Allow new institutions the same opportunities as established ones so you can foster healthy market competition without forcing students to bear the cost. As far as higher education is concerned, there should be a clean slate. There should be no rich or poor, black or white, or male or female. There should be only individuals to be judged and rewarded based on their own effort and intelligence, not on their background and certainly not on the wealth of their parents. Then, and only then, can we call ourselves a free and fair nation, where anyone can be anything and the American dream is still alive and breathing. Thank you for listening and have a good rest of your day.